Good evening, Keto and Wrestling family. MATTROISE here with another live stream tonight of Dark Side of the Ring, Episode 6, live here tonight. Adrian Adonis, the tragic life of Adrian Adonis. We're going to see it live here tonight. Please allow me to be your eyes and ears for this broadcast, and I'll let you know what's going on. Any questions, leave them in the comment section down below, and leave them in the chat, and I'll get to them during the commercial break. How's you doing, everybody? Michael Maroney. All right, the show's about to begin. Hope you guys are ready. Live.
Being a part of that and change the culture was awesome.
What's up, Colby? Long time no see, bro.
And I will eventually win. I always feel that. That's my heart. That's my soul.
Michael Maroney.
I always believe that to the day I die.
To the kill.
The accident occurred around 9:30 last night near Lewisport, Newfoundland. A van containing 4 professional wrestlers suddenly plunged into a shallow stream. Police in Newfoundland say they're continuing their investigation.
Adrian Adonis. Good friend called me. He said, "Did you hear about Adrian?" I said, "No." I phoned my wife. I said, "I'm coming home." And she said, "Okay. Why? Did something happen?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "Everybody's dead." On July 4th, 1988, 3 professional wrestlers were killed in a tragic car accident on a remote highway in Newfoundland, Canada. The most famous name among the victims was World Wrestling Federation superstar, the adorable Adrian Adonis. The circumstances surrounding the crash have grown into an urban legend in the wrestling world, fueling decades of debate and speculation. From what I heard, they're drunk as hell. Driver saw a moose and he dodged him and he went down over a ravine underneath a bridge.
A moose?
The ring truck was out after him, fixed their pockets. One of them lived. But I don't know how he's back with him.
And they were drinking?
A tragedy that took the lives of 3 wrestlers, with 1 man left standing, haunted by what he saw that night.
Well, they got him there too.
I'll never forget it. You're lucky to be alive. Yes, I am. Thank God for that.
ATF, I can't confirm that, but you never know. Tragic fall of Adrian Adonis.
I'm gonna slap him around in front of all you scumbags, you ignoramuses, and all you freeloaders, and all you armchair quarterbacks, and people you think that you know about the sport of wrestling, which you know nothing about.
In the 1980s, Vince McMahon's World Wrestling Federation presented a larger-than-life world filled with heroes, villains, and a rotating cast of colorful tough guys. But few were more colorful than the adorable one himself, Adrian Adonis.
Adrian Adonis was one of the best big man wrestlers in the game at the time.
This is very deceptive.
Adrian Adonis was a really unique wrestler because physically he had this body that didn't look like it would be acrobatic.
Where the guy?
Look at him go.
It was.
Unbelievable performer. Unbelievable.
His timing alone made him an exception. Oh, the dancing bear.
Wow, look at him go.
Toes, man. The guy can move like nothing.
And regardless what these fans think, Adrian Adonis is a devastating individual in that ring.
Adrian's provocative ability to push buttons and boundaries catapults him to the top of the card, earning him a coveted weekly segment known as the Flower Shop.
You know, straight people hating gays was certainly the idea behind the gimmick. The business of pro wrestling was very, very stereotypical, and very often it would be, kind of fat guys that would bleach their hair blonde, and that was kind of like your stereotype.
And I'm gonna say something right now, and admit it right now. Everybody wants to hear it, and I'm gonna say it. Yes, I'm gay.
Wow.
Adrian knew the business well enough so he knew what he had to do to make people hate him. And he did that.
Not too much, really, adorable.
However, the star's flamboyant in-ring persona could hardly be more different from the reality of the man behind the character.
The black roots are showing in the hair. Is that
I'm natural. What are you talking about? He wasn't a bullshit wrestler. He was a bona fide, legitimate, tough guy that had his fair number of street fights in his lifetime. I'm Bret the Hitman Hart, 7-time WWE World Champion, WCW Champion, and a WWE Hall of Famer. And I'm a very close personal friend of the late Adrian Adonis.
Born Keith Frankie, the future Adrian Adonis grew up in a working-class neighborhood in Buffalo, New York.
Buffalo.
Bread and butter, Buffalo, man. Born and raised. We grew up on the west side of Buffalo. Rough neighborhood, 90% Italian. I never seen him lose a fight in my life. As soon as he put that smirk on his face, you knew you better get the hell out of there or you're in trouble. My name is Anthony Gugino, and I'm a close friend of Keith Frankie, the wrestler. Adrian Adonis, as you would know. You couldn't help love the guy, man. He had a heart of gold. I mean, he'd do anything for you. But if you crossed him, he'd pick you up, body slam you, like that.
Wow.
Like nothing. Keith was my local Brazzi. I'm 5'5", 120 pounds. He's 6'2", 240. And when someone owed me money, I just walked with Keith by me and said, "You got my money?" And he just looked and said, "Yeah."
He was what they call very connected. You said, I'm with Adrian. It's like it meant you had a gold card to go wherever you wanted.
We started out as a high school fraternity, Kappa Beta. From there, we went to street gang. From street gang, we went to fighting with everybody. We were the baddest in Buffalo, so everybody had a target on us. Most of our guys became gangsters. But Keith had purpose, and why waste your life fighting with these idiots when you could go to become something? He knew he had to make a move, and what he wanted was wrestling. If you want something, Keith, you gotta go for it.
Dropping out of high school to focus on wrestling, Adrian brings his experience fighting in the streets to the squared circle.
I watched Adrian when he first started in Amarillo, Texas. I was about 15 or 16 then. Adrian announced to the audience that he would take on anybody in the building. It was advertised as, if you could stay in the ring with Adrian Adonis for 10 minutes, you could win $10,000.
That's a lot of money.
And they'd be about 4 or 5 guys that would come down and they'd interview them and talk to them while they're outside the ring, and then they would get in the ring.
10 minutes is a long time, though.
Adrian would knock him out cold. It gives you an idea of what Adrian was like. He was a fearless kind of guy. So you have to be a pretty tough guy to take on all comers, you know, fight fans for real. You know who the guy is. My name is Dave Meltzer. I'm the editor of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, and I've been covering pro wrestling since 1971. It wasn't enough to just out-wrestle the guy. You know, he'll go and tell his friends, "Hey, I hung with the guy." It's like, you have to leave marks. You have to pound his face in or break a bone or something. And when he goes around town, it's like, oh, God, those guys were killers, you know? And Adrian was one of those guys.
In time, Adrian's size, look, and killer instinct lands him a spot in one of the most popular promotions in the business, Vern Gagne's American Wrestling Association.
We all knew what he was. He was great.
Greg!
I'm Greg Gagne. I wrestled for 18 years in the AWA. My father was Vern Gagne, a legend in the sport of professional wrestling. And Adrian came in, and Vern liked him right away, liked his presence in the ring. And eventually, they teamed him up with Jesse Ventura.
Well, somebody's going to pay for this. Somebody's going to pay dearly for this. Ain't that right, Adrian?
Definitely so. Let me tell you something, Stanley Blackburn.
Jesse was the better talker of the two, but Adrian was not a bad talker. He was a good talker, and they played off each other really well. He wore the leather jacket in the New York Yankees insignia, which, you know, in the Midwest, that's good for being a heel. You know, the New York biker type guy going against your Midwest local heroes.
The Golden Boy, Adrian Adonis.
Seen him live in the AWA with Greg Gagne and Jim Brunzell, and get punched and do these pirouettes and being whipped into the corner and do that flip that Ric Flair would like, you know, badass of all badass. Taking the drop kicks from Jim Brunzell. And it was really there where he went from being what I would call a really good wrestler to being a real star.
His bumps and his reaction and, you know, his facial expression, and he was sort of that bully on the microphone.
And a couple of weeks ago, I heard Ray Stevens and Pat Patterson out here giving us a so-called challenge.
And he could back it up, so he was an exceptional talent.
Jumping Jim Brunzell.
I'm Jim Brunzell, otherwise known as Jumpin' Jim Brunzell. And I wrestled for 28 years.
Long time.
He knew when to get heat, and then he knew when to give the babyface a comeback.
We were so proud of him. One of our guys was actually making to be a star. On TV, we're watching one of our friends grew up on the west side of Buffalo. None of us had nothing. You have no idea the parties we were throwing.
After years of building a name for himself in the AWA and across the country, Adrian eventually signs with Vince McMahon's WWF.
I got scars on my face. I've had baseball bats across my shoulder.
By the time I got to the WWE in '84, I was nobody. I was a little fish in a big pond, and Adrian was a pretty big fish.
And look at confidence just oozing.
He knew everything about everything in the business. I tried to bond with him or become friends with him. I can remember going up to Adrian Adonis' room. Jim Niner told me to come up, and I can remember feeling kind of funny because I could tell like I wasn't welcome. He doesn't trust being around me. I'm a promoter's kid. Probably gonna tell on him. And I can remember Jim peeping through the peephole. I can hear Adrian. It's Brett. Don't let him in. And then I could hear Jim go, no, he's cool. He's cool. He's totally cool. Let him in. Well, I hear the chain come off, and Jim was like, come on in. Adrian, he's chopping up a bunch of cocaine on the mirror. You know, he's chopping it all up. A very telling kind of moment for me, because that opened the door for me to sit in a room with Roddy Piper, Mr. Fuji, Iron Sheik. Like, for me, it was like sitting under the learning tree. I know I was doing lines of cocaine with all these guys till 4 or 5 in the morning. They were all the most creative minds in wrestling at that time. This is so critical and important for me to be in this room with these guys, listening and learning all these little secrets about the business, wrestling psychology. I never ever look back on those days as being wasted time.
Cocaine was about as prevalent as marijuana was in the 60s. And I mean, everybody had it.
You meet somebody in the bar, you shake his hand, and as soon as you shake his hand, he'd squeeze a 8-ball of cocaine into your hand. And basically, it was like a starter kit. Don't worry, it's on us. They give it to you and tell you that, you know, we'll get you down the road sometime. You're going to pay me back. Adrian went hard every night. Every night. If you looked up party animal in the dictionary, there'd be a picture of Adrian Adonis. The problem with cocaine was how it could turn around and become a monster in a short time. And then you're sitting at home watching soap operas in the middle of the afternoon, and you're going, it's all over.
Wow. All right, guys. Hello, everybody. Rorito, what's up? What's up, Brian Campbell, Danny Bland, the Daily Dan Blog, Jacob. What's going on, bro? What's up, Yuang? What's up, Garrett Light? Your boy Yoda. 420 Hunter Sage. Bonnie Close. So this is the live stream for Dark Side of the Ring. Dark Side of the Ring. Michael Maroney asks, what do you think will be the main event of SummerSlam? Possibly Cody versus Brock. Then Maroney asks, what do I recommend on keto at McDonald's? Well, check out my videos I've posted about keto at McDonald's. Definitely get some burger meat a la carte, and you could get it on a bed of lettuce with tomato, onions, pickles. You can have cheese if you want, and get it in a platter. Julian Smith, what's going on? When or where does Damian Priest cash his Money in the Bank contract? Good question. I think it's going to be after SummerSlam, maybe around Survivor Series. 420 Hunter Sage asks, do I like cruise ships? I actually want to try a cruise ship one of these days. What's the Dark Side episode you have covered? Rory says. I try to cover at least just about all of them. What's my favorite restaurant where I live at? Maroney says. Honestly, I'm not a huge fan of any of the restaurants near me. Unfortunately. I could just cook it better myself. Just Jason Keto! What's going on, bro? Rory asks, which 5 Hall of Famers from WWE do you feel should not be there? Honestly, I think everyone's worthy of being a Hall of Famer that they do have in there. I'll do my best, Jacob, to DM you after the stream. Yes, I learned a lot, Garrett, from the Dark Side episodes. I do. Yes, Roy, you could drink alcohol on keto. You could drink vodka. You could drink bourbon and low-carb beer. Hard seltzers if you want. That's all right, Brian. Brian missed me on last week's Raw. It's okay. Stop by whenever you can. Definitely, Roy, I can officially retire Alexander. He'll retire undefeated. Undefeated.
Joining the WWF roster during his 19
I think Alexander is the youngest.
Adrian Adonis seems destined for greatness.
Trevor win and retire on top, absolutely.
The trappings of success begin to take a toll.
There was a lot of wrestlers that were strung out on cocaine. And we started to realize it wasn't the friendly drug that we all thought. When we first started snorting it, it's a bad drug that you gotta wean yourself off of and stay away from. Me and Jim Neidhart, we had the white flag up. We have nothing left in the tank. Like, can't do any more drugs and late nights. We kind of stopped kind of partying with everyone because it was just too much.
They were all cokeheads. Don't let nothing fool you. They were all partiers. There wasn't nobody in that business, maybe a few. You could probably get 1 out of 100 who wasn't a partier. I mean, it was nothing but a party. They entertained, had a good time, but they partied.
I remember one night, I just had the rest of my beer, and I was going to bed, and I heard this knock on the door. So I opened the door, here's Adrian. And he says, God damn it, Jimmy, I'm going to kill myself. Take this bag of cocaine and keep it for me. I said, okay, you know. About 4.5 hours later, I hear bam, bam, bam at the door, and I thought, what the heck? You know, it's like 5 in the morning. So open the door. Adrian's fit to be tied. He says, Bronzy, where's the goddamn coke? He said, you better not have taken any. And I gave it to him, and out he went.
Yeah, I just remember thinking, his wife has no idea Dougie ever does stuff like that at home. When he was with his wife, he was a completely different guy. Talk about Jekyll and Hyde. I don't know if there's anybody that I know of that was more of a devoted, loving family man that loved his wife, loved his kids. The way he talked to his wife was like she was like an angel. She never pull your chair out and slide it back in when she sat down. It's like he was such a gentleman. I almost thought it was a put on at first.
I was 19 when we met. I knew what I was getting into with him. I think to have that strong bond with the wrestler, you have to really love each other. This was his dream, and I wanted it for him. My name is B. Frankie Hall, and I was married to Adrian Adonis. Home life, that was different. He was definitely not the same as you would see in the ring. No, he was a very gentle, kind, loving, flowers, jewelry, sweet, sweet man. I would wake up and he'd have breakfast made for me and bring it to me in bed. They had such a close relationship, even though he was gone a lot of the time, but he would call several times a day. She's, you know, always, I remember her talking about the collect phone calls, the bills would be outrageous. They just had a really good relationship. I mean, their personalities meshed well. I'm Gina Banta, and Adrian Adonis was my father. Thought I was the coolest kid ever. I had a Pee Wee Herman signed poster that he got for me. I'm Angela Freitas, and I'm the oldest daughter of Adrian Adonis. Watching Three Stooges, was something that he loved to watch. It was always on when he was home. In his big bag that he would take on the road, there was always just presents, gifts. We were going to have fun. Dad was home. I think I was a good wife. He trusted me totally. I never screwed around. I never asked questions. I think we had an awesome relationship. I cannot get mad at that man. I cannot.
Despite his stable home life, Adrian's cocaine addiction causes his in-ring style to become even more vicious, ultimately damaging his reputation backstage.
He was edgy. I mean, he was edgy. He had a temper.
You see the sadistic amount of Adrian now. If I know Adrian, he's going to get real nasty right now.
Coked up Adrian Adonis will be very, very rough on guys, and if they complain, it's like, well, you're not tough enough for this business, get out.
The thing about all those kind of things is every dog has his day. There's always going to be somebody that can whip your butt sooner or later.
My goodness.
In 1985, Vince McMahon decides that Adrian's character needs a dramatic makeover. From New York City tough guy to something completely different.
You look a whole lot different.
When Vince took over in '84, it was more and more about colorful characters. It was not as much about tough guys. You know, everybody had to have a gimmick. And that Adrian Adonis gimmick he didn't see as a main event gimmick. The New York tough guy thing.
The leather jacket is going to be retired.
Weighing 281 pounds, the adorable Adrian Adonis.
Adorable.
There are certain things that defy description.
The idea of the gay character. That was not super common, but it was absolutely there, you know, starting with Gorgeous George. So of course, you know, when something is successful in wrestling, everybody copies it. So he went from, the Adrian Adonis, black leather, New York tough guy thing, and then they started doing vignettes where he was, you know, embracing his other side.
May the Rockettes eat your heart out.
I'll tell you, when they made him dress up with the perfume thing and his homosexual, none of us liked it, but we understood it.
He was too good to be doing what McMahon wanted him to do. But up there, that's the way he had to survive.
They do not approve, apparently.
He had to do that. He had to have a gimmick. He had to be this big, Gorgeous George for Vince to give him any credit.
When they say when he's out on the town that he's a gay blade, I don't know. What are we saying there?
I don't know that Adrian liked the idea at first, but I think he did a quick turnaround. You know what, I'm going to just prove to you that I can do it, that I'm not talented, that I can take something as stupid as that and make it work, and I'm going to prove that to you.
In May of 1986, Adrian is sent to wrestle a relative newcomer to the business.
I was scheduled to work with Adrian because Adrian was getting ready for a run with Hogan.
Wow.
Champion Hulk Hogan. Let me tell you something, Adonis.
So they gave Adrian people to beat up and be impressive with. I was kind of looking forward to it because Adrian, you know, was one of the main guys.
Dan Spivey.
Hi everyone, my name is Dan Spivey,
Spivey.
formerly known as Dangerous Dan Spivey.
Spivey looking absolutely fantastic.
I was new into the wrestling business. I've probably only been in there a little over a year. I guess Adrian thought I was just some young guy, easy big guy. I was always quiet, didn't have much to say, and so I guess he took that as weakness, and he was wrong.
Pitted against Spivey, Adrian will learn just how wrong he was in a match that will change his life forever.
Uh-oh.
He just exploded. All of a sudden, he let off and he hit him in the head with a left hook. So I'm gonna kill that son of a bitch.
Oh, wow. Wow, that got heated, huh? All right, guys, let's see what amazing questions you guys have for me. Do I have a secret Hall of Famer ready in August? I do. I do. I have a headliner already for SummerSlam. I do. Michael Maroney, yes, I will check all messages on Instagram tonight after the stream. I've been so busy I haven't been able to. Bonnie, you want a cheeseburger? Well, if you were my neighbor, I would make sure you would get a cheeseburger. What's up, Seth freaking Rollins? What's the weirdest Darks episode you ever covered? Rory says. I'd say the Owen Hart Dark Side of the Ring, because I didn't know what was going to happen for that one. And that's the episode we met the Dark Angel, believe it or not. Maroney is a 4-time global champion. He is. Rory asks, do I really feel Bob Uecker needs to be in the Hall of Fame? Absolutely. I think that's well past. I mean, it should have happened already. Freddy Krueger. Danny, I think it was it Dan Spivey? So you won the Paul Bearer Rory's dual pop as a prize after redeeming it at a local arcade. 350 tickets. Do you remember I Should You won? What's that, Rory? Jimmy Hart. Yeah, Jimmy Hart is one of the greatest managers of all time, Garrett. You would think someone on the powder wouldn't look like Fat Albert. Danny's right? Yeah. What's up? Think different. How are you? Rory asked, which 5 pops would I want to create? That's a good question. I mean, I'd say a pop duo of the Montreal Screwjob with Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels. That would be awesome. A Hulk Hogan as Mr. America, I believe. Pop. Also, a pop duo with Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman. Also a pop duo of The Undertaker and Brock Lesnar. Actually, that's actually just been done. Actually, it's brand new. And also a pop duo of Kurt Angle and Brock Lesnar. All right, more questions after
World
this.
Champion Hulk Hogan, Adrian Adonis is set to wrestle and defeat Dan Spivey, solidifying his position as one of the top villains in the company.
Of course, I had in the back of my mind that he was also a tough guy, and I heard that he would take advantage of guys. So I had mixed feelings about wrestling, and sure enough, got in the ring. He started kicking me really hard, calling me a stupid son of a bitch, and just abusing the shit out of me. I was pissed after the match. I was going to fight him right there, and Davey Boy and Dynamite and Scott McGee grabbed my stuff. They got us a cab, got me back to the place, and got me out of the Coliseum. So the next night, we were in Flint, Michigan. It was sold out, 10,000 people. Vince says, you guys are working together. I said, okay.
Uh-oh.
Bob Orton and I had heard there was some bad blood, and it had been building between Adrian and Danny Spivey. We're hoping that the match would get by.
He was supposed to win. Beat me with something. I don't remember what it was, but he was going over, which was expected, but he started the same shit with me again. I was on all fours. He knocked the air out of me, and then he he got me in the sleeper hold and he was really cinching down on it. And I just had enough of it. Well, I kind of snapped. I came up swinging. I knocked him out. The referee says, "Dan, that's not the finish." I said, "I changed the finish. He's not going over tonight."
He's not going over tonight.
So Bob and I run into the ring because I didn't want.
I changed the finish.
Please, let's go back to the locker room.
Everybody was going crazy running around the dressing room.
Is there a video of this match?
I'm still pissed.
And then all of a sudden, the door opens up. And Adrian's coming. He starts talking to Danny, you know, like he was going to apologize or something. And then he goes to leg dive Danny.
Oh.
Spivey, you know, he's a quiet guy. If you poke a dog a number of times, he's going to bite your ass. You can imagine a guy 6'7", you know, 280 pounds, throwing a punch from down by his knee, an uppercut. Lifted Adrian up in the air, and Adrian came down like a walrus. Boom! And he just rolled his eyes back, and you could see his cheekbone. The white part of the bone was sticking through the skin.
Wow.
They called an ambulance, and they took him to the hospital, and nobody saw Adrian again for, it had to be a couple weeks.
I wish it would have been different, but I had to protect myself and protect my reputation. Anyway, I got fired about a month later. Let go.
Got let go.
I kind of felt bad for him. Had to sting getting his ass whipped in front of everybody, all the wrestlers that watched him.
When you're a guy that everybody fears and that happens to you, you kind of lose a little bit of face and I don't want to say respect, but you kind of lose something when that happens, yeah.
And it was horrible for Adrian because I don't think he ever really recovered from that.
Humiliated after the confrontation with Spivey, Adrian spirals further into his cocaine addiction.
Adrian was starting to show a lot of decline, and he was getting heavier, and he was wasn't moving like he used to. He wasn't the guy he used to be, and I think he knew that.
The trouble with substance abuse is when you do find time to eat, you gorge yourself and then you fall asleep. So you're eating tons of calories, and it's got no place to go except this tissue on your body.
He's getting big.
Damn, I'm reaching 300. I didn't see that. Maybe because I was his wife. I did not see that. I just saw him.
He didn't know how to stop, but I don't think he knew how to change it without changing his whole life.
In May of 1987, Adrian suddenly leaves the WWF. Though the reasons are unclear, rumors backstage suggest he was fired for substance abuse.
I just know that Adrian suddenly disappeared where he wasn't on the cards anymore. I think guys like me just assume he'll be back in a few weeks.
I thought for a second he may have had enough.
The next time I saw Adrian, he's 400 pounds. Him and I wrestled in Las Vegas.
Got
We
big.
thought this would be a great match.
And a twist.
We were doing an international television champion.
I think Adonis is just too big for the frame of Greg Gagne.
And we got in the ring. He was breathing so hard, we barely made 10 minutes.
Orton is trying to drag Adonis back to the ring.
We sat down in the locker room and we just talked. And I told him, I said, Jesus, Adrian, what have you done? God almighty, why don't you go get back to your regular weight? You're one of the great performers of all time. This isn't you. And you know from our philosophy, be yourself, be who you are. And maybe that night woke him up a little bit.
Still only 34 years old, Adrian commits to getting back in shape, losing nearly 100 pounds over the next 6 months.
Wow.
Ditching the adorable one persona, he sets his sights on competing in Japan.
Life was great. Everything was great.
Lost almost 100 pounds.
Just a happy family. He was over happy.
I saw him in Tokyo. I ran across him at a popular place for the American guys, Gaijin to eat. steakhouse. I saw him there. I had a beer with him, shook hands, and you know, I was sorry things happened the way it did. You know, so we had a beer.
He was very touchy.
Yeah, pretty much.
But I remember having dinner with him and B. He really did seem like he was getting his life together again, getting ready for a big comeback. He was at that age where he could still turn things around, reinvent himself, and come back. And I don't think anyone ever thought, oh, that's the last we'll hear of Adrian Adonis.
The last time I saw Keith was in LA in a hotel room. He flew in from Japan and met him that night. That morning he was to fly out to Canada. He came back to the room to tell me goodbye a second time. He had never done that. That was the last goodbye, the last time I saw him alive.
That's too bad. All right, guys, let's see what other amazing questions you guys have. Oh, he's already... Bob Uecker's already in the Hall of Fame. I thought he was. So what do I think of the characters of Adrian Adonis, Billy and Chuck, Rico, among others? I always thought they were entertaining. I always got a kick out of their characters. Do I feel Hogan wanted to work with Adrian Adonis? I don't think he did, honestly. One Hall of Fame tonight. Roy, well, you guys are going to have to wait till next week. But it's going to be a star-studded Hall of Fame ceremony like it is every 6 months. They have Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, WrestleMania Iron Man match pop already. Oh, they do? Okay. You know what pop I think would be awesome? An Owen Hart pop. And a Blue Blazer pop. A Johnny Boots pop. Danny. That would be funny. A Poppy bobblehead. Yeah, I would love to, Garrett. Bastion Booger Boots dual pop, Rory. That would be funny. Which 5 original WCW wrestler would you want to meet? Ric Flair, all the 4 Horsemen, Eddie Guerrero, Dean Malenko, Roy asks, what made me start doing Q&As here? I thought it was a good idea to do some Q&A. They have bubblehead football players, but it'll be cute, Bonnie says. Yeah, Steiner Brothers or LED dual pop would be awesome, Roy. If I ever get the channel bigger, which belt would I give away? Well, if my plan is to get this channel huge, to get it huge to the point where I'll be giving away titles every month. That's my goal, but I don't know when that's going to happen, but that's my goal. All right, more questions after this.
Wrestlers known as the Kelly Twins.
I was only a survivor at that time. What a tragedy. Adrian Adonis, he was a tough boy, and he loved being in the ring. He was a good boy. My name's Mike Kelly, and I've been a professional wrestler for 23 and a half years with my twin brother, Pat. People have probably known me from the O. Henry commercial.
When you consider how big it is.
Back years ago, that big chunk of fudge.
It's that big chunk of fudge.
The Kelly twins were better wrestlers that I remember from the 60s, they worked for my dad. Identical twins. You couldn't tell which one you were talking to.
This is when we were in Japan.
Identical.
A bunch of us sitting around at a sushi bar, drinking and eating. I think this was in Tokyo. Hacksaw Higgins. I think my brother fell in love that night. Yes. We were inseparable. We enjoyed being together, doing things together. My mother always dresses the same. If Pat had a black coat on, I'd wear a black coat. If he had brown shoes, I would wear brown shoes. We had identical diamond rings, identical watches, identical hats. We lived our life as twins. He got hurt one time, and I wasn't there, and I knew something was wrong. I says, my brother's hurt. I could feel it. We had that special bond, which was good for us.
So how did you get the call to do the Newfoundland tour?
We were working like around Toronto. Dave McKigney, the promoter, he had called and asked us if we wanted to come down to Newfoundland, and I said, well, yeah, we'll come down and wrestle for you. So we packed up our van and drove down with my brother and I, and Adrian Adonis come in from Japan. The main event was Adrian Adonis with the bear band against my brother and I.
Dave McKigney was a journeyman wrestler who promoted shows, and his gimmick was that he had a bunch of bears living at his house and he trained to wrestle. So that's where he got the name the Bear Man.
Bears.
Dave was a complete old school guy. He was a good person and a good promoter and one of the best payoff men ever.
Ricky Johnson.
My name is Ricky Soulman Johnson. I borrowed the name from my brother, Rocky Johnson, actually, because
His brother?
we were partners for a long time and he passed away, so I decided to honor him by using his nickname. Bearman's stores were almost like a traveling circus. We had gadgets, beers. It was something for everyone.
Dave the Bearman, he owned the Wrestling Bear, Terrible Ted. It's kind of a rib that the promoter tells you, you're wrestling the Wrestling Bear tonight. It's like really? Like, are you kidding me?
I wouldn't get near the bear. A bear has so much strength that, you know, it could tear you apart in less than half a minute. Actually, there was an incident with Bearman's girlfriend. She was upstairs taking a shower, and the bear had sensed it, and Bearman was working in the garden. And the bear actually came up into the bathroom.
Wow.
Clawed her to death.
Clawed her to death?
The bear had tore her to pieces.
Really?
It was a tragedy when I heard it.
Oh, that's terrible.
He was supposed to marry this young lady.
Despite this tragedy, McKigney continues to work with bears on his next tour.
That's terrible.
An 8-week trek across Newfoundland with a troupe of wrestlers that includes the Kelly twins, Ricky Johnson, and Adrian Adonis.
It was great. Everybody was happy. Everybody was making money. And the people in Newfoundland were so very nice to us. We were in Gander, Newfoundland. The next night, we had to wrestle in Lewisport, Newfoundland. The mayor of Lewisport owned the hotel in Gander, a Holiday Inn. It is hard to talk about. And he asked, would any of the wrestlers come to Lewisport that night that we were off, because they'd like to throw a party for us.
July 4th, 1988, he had called me 3 times, and the last phone call he made to me said, I'm getting ready to get on a ferry. I just want to tell you I love you. And he just said, call me later, honey, call me later.
Adrian got in Pat's van, the Canadian Wild Man. He got in the van with the Kellys. And I was just getting ready to climb in and film Lewis Horn. He said, why don't you come with me? So I said, sure, that's cool. Adrian, the Wild Man, and the Kelly twins were 10, 15 minutes ahead of us, I guess. Me and Phil Whipper Watson Jr., little T, were just riding down the road, having a few laughs. Everything was all backed up and going like 2 miles an hour. So I said to Phil, must have been an accident. Traffic like this in Newfoundland, you know. Then I looked over into the water and I seen a red van in the water. It's an image that'll never leave my mind.
Oh, that's too bad. That's terrible. All right, let's see what other questions you guys have. Am I happy you finally retired from trivia? I need to tell you in private. Of course, Roy. I mean, I'm happy with everyone's decisions, whatever they decide to do. So yeah, I'm happy with everyone's decisions. Whatever decision you make, anyone makes, I'm happy. What were my original thoughts on WWE pay-per-views on Saturdays, Roy? I feel like they were taking a page out of UFC's handbook, but I think it's better now because you get to sleep in on Sunday, you get to stay up late Saturday. It's pretty cool. Garrett Light, they need one more match. Last match it would be legendary, Garrett. Steiner Brothers, absolutely. If I could go back in time, the time machine, what year would I want to go to? Early 2019, so I could prevent the incident from occurring. That would change everyone's lives around me. Did I ever watch Wayne's World? I did, and I liked Wayne's World. It was a great series, great movie. 1 and 2. Which 5 wrestlers WWE do you feel need to get released? All of Hit Row, Karrion Kross, Scarlett is the star, not Cross. Scarlett is the star, and Xavier Woods. What wrestlers do you want to return at SummerSlam? Garrett asked. I'd say The Fiend. I'd like to see him return. The Undertaker. John Cena. Elvis. Thoughts on if you feel WWE has gotten better or worse after being sold to UFC? Rory asked. I think it's the same. Honestly, I don't see any difference. Honestly, I don't feel like there's any difference yet. That is. So yeah, I don't feel like it's any different per se. Which 4 wrestlers do you feel needed to get bigger push in WWF in the 90s? That's a good question. Jake the Snake, Goldust, Texas Tornado, and Marty Jannetty. Yeah, Collision. Yeah, I know, Garrett. AEW. Yeah, I think it's going to happen at SummerSlam, Roy. Ricochet and Logan Paul.
Adrian it was about 8 o'clock at night. It was as broad daylight as it is at noon. Pure daylight. I couldn't believe it. It was amazing. It freaked me right out. It looks like a desert out there, actually. We had to go around these big rocks. We just barely got through with our van. We were going down the highway and I saw a little bear cub. My brother, the reflection of the sun, caught the side of his eye and he had swerved to the left where the grass was. The van had gotten down in a little gully and hit this huge rock dead on. And I fainted. And I woke up and I felt this water was ice cold. I just wonder what had happened. Like, why am I in this stream? And then finally, I saw my brother behind the wheel, slouched on the steering wheel. He had passed away. I could tell right away. Yeah, it was horrifying.
And, give me a minute, please. I seen the van in the water, and I said, that looks like the Kelly's van. And I knew it well. I went down there with him in it, so.
Adrian Adonis was in bad shape. He was in real bad shape. The bear man died instantly.
Adrian, he was moaning, help me, help me, help me. I remember Adrian's elbow. All you could see was the bone sticking out of it. I remember thinking, like, we gotta save him. But there was no saving him.
That's terrible.
It was 4th of July, so, you know, we were celebrating with all my cousins in Bakersfield. And I do remember we had just like a little get-together. I have a cousin that's scared to death of fireworks, so my other cousin went in to check, answered the phone. They asked for Miss Frankie. But I just remember she came out screaming at the house. He was passed. He was
Yeah.
They said Keith has been killed. He was killed
No.
in an auto accident.
No.
I said, put Dave on the phone, Dave McKinney. He said, he's dead. I said, put one of the Kelly twins on. I don't know, you put someone on. And then the RCMP called me that night. And he was gone. The first few days after his passing, I was still in shock. I did not want to believe it.
Dead is former WWF star adorable Adrian Adonis. Also killed was Pat Kelly on the left. His twin brother Mike on the right was the only survivor of the crash.
His brother was your best friend.
Oh yes, yes. We're half an hour apart, and he was very close to me. Where he went, I followed behind. Where I went, he followed behind. We're inseparable.
Whole world changed, yeah. In more ways than one, because a couple of road guys that worked for Dave McKinney, the bear man, they jumped in the water also. And they robbed Adrian. They took his money, watch, whatever valuables he had.
They were arrested. Yes, I did want to press charges. Just to the fact that, why? Why rob a dead man?
So, yeah, we went to a motel in Lewisport. We went to the bar. Some of the guys, just to relax, they want to shoot pool. So they had a couple of drinks. Then somebody said, they're all dead. And like it just hit them. Next thing I know, I just seen stuff flying and glasses were flying. Then all hell just broke loose. I remember seeing the manager of the hotel. He was just standing off to the side against the wall with a pen and paper. He gave us a bill the next morning. I think it was $12,000 for the damage. The next day, we drove by the scene of the accident. Some guys were praying, some were crying, and CBC came. And they wanted to know who was involved and stuff. We told them to off, get away from us. Don't you realize what happened here?
Yeah, it's terrible. Hello, everybody. Oh yeah, that was from Mike Harper. He gave a generous donation yesterday. Z. Danny says he would fire Ricochet and Logan and Paul. Rory says thoughts on WWE merch sales being bigger now than ever, including Attitude Era. I think that it was inevitable with the rise of social media. Oh yes, Roy, like I said, when this channel gets bigger, I'll be giving away a lot of exclusive prizes. A lot more exclusive prizes than I am now. That's why I gotta do what I can to get bigger. So, and I know what I have to do to get bigger, and that's what I'm gonna do. But yeah, send me that website. Absolutely. What's up, Z? How are you, Z? Dro says MI7 comes out tomorrow. Very good. Yeah, I mean, Dro says, will Brock go to the movies tomorrow, celebrate a birthday? I'm not sure. I mean, I know he likes to go hunting and drink Coors Light. And also he likes to have fun with Sable. Oh, next week's Abdul the Butcher. Oh, really, Roy? How was it, MI7?
Dirty razor blades. Who knows where that blade came from? If you don't give the people violence, they don't come and see you.
Dark Side of the Ring. New episode next Tuesday at 10 on Vice.
Abdullah the Butcher.
Some have suggested that the accident that killed wrestlers Adrian Adonis, Dave McKigney, and Pat Kelly resulted from drinking and driving.
I don't like to think keep dying like that. They probably were coming from a wrestling match, partying, having a good time.
No drugs, no alcohol. The doctors had checked all that.
Really, Roy?
And that there was no.
And nobody was drinking in the band?
Definitely not. No, definitely not. I keep a photo of him in my wallet at all times. I have photos of him in my bedroom. Yeah, he was my life.
It's too bad.
But things have to go on.
By the grace of God, it could be you, because you never know. We're on the road every night. Guys were drinking a 12-pack of beer, smoking, joints and snorting coke and driving 100 miles an hour. And nobody got killed.
There's a guy doing the right thing, and he ends up dying in a tragic accident. When all of us guys are out there doing the wrong shit, and we're still alive. How does that balance out? I guess God was right, the good die young. And Keith was one of the best. He was one of my closest friends, even though we were miles apart. I was in a federal prison in Texas. When he died, I was in custody, so I wasn't able to go to the funeral.
I remember B telling me that he was so big that nothing could ever hurt him. I remember thinking the same thing, like he was indestructible.
The whole funeral was for. It really didn't hit me until later. They biked at home while he was in Japan. And this closet in this new home, I had his jacket with the New York emblem. That was the only thing in that closet. I don't know who put it there. I could just smell him. Everything came flooding back, and that's when it really hit me. I took that damn jacket and I went to bed. And that was the finality of it. He was never coming home. Ever.
It's terrible.
I think your brother would be pretty proud of the man it turned out to be.
Yes, he sure would. You gotta stay strong. And that's the way I've lived my life after my brother had passed. And I'll just keep going. Well, we'll do the best we can. That's all we can do.
Adrian Adonis was a very, very talented guy, and I don't think he ever got the due for his talent that he should have, just because It was not an era where people really recognized that. Like if a guy with the talent of Adrian Adonis was around today, everybody would know how good he is, and he would be a big, big star.
He should be honored. He should be in the Hall of Fame. He's a Hall of Famer, without a doubt.
I think that if Adrian hadn't been in that accident, I don't think it's impossible to think that 5 years later, the Wrestlemania, Bret Hart versus Adrian Adonis, like who knows? I would want him to know how much I appreciate all the little bits of advice and encouragement that he gave me all through my career, and just the friendship that I had. I learned so much from him, and I never take it for granted. I would have given anything to have an Adrian Adonis waiting for me in the ring. He was the real deal.
Oh, that was a tragedy right there. That's tragedy. All right, guys, let's continue with a few more questions before I head out. Z says rumors are saying that Stone Cold is gonna have a segment with someone, or could be a match. Well, I would love to see that. There was not a bad big guy in this movie, Dro. I don't know why. Garrett says Abdul the Butcher is lucky to still be with us. I agree. Or he says we may see a lot of Puerto Rico in next week's episode because Abdullah was huge here. All right. What's up, Jasmine Freeman? Any relation to Eric Freeman? What's my number? 347-522-1758. There will be a representative standing by to take your call. 24/7, 365. That is the Choice Hotline. What's up, Mike Harper? Or he says, name 2 tag teams from WWE all time you would want to be their manager. The Hart Foundation and the Steiner Brothers. Stone Cold should have a match at LA Knight, Garrett says. So he says, reason why WWE won't give LA Knight a title is LA Knight doesn't need a title. Well, LA Knight, you know, he deserves a push. You know, he really does. Between Jimmy Hart, Paul Heyman, and Sonny, who do you want to manage you? Well, realistically, I would want Paul Heyman to manage me. And you got to think with the right head, you know. You think with the wrong head, you're going to choose Sonny to manage you. You got to think with the right head. Jim Cornette, Danny. Jim Cornette? I'd say Paul Heyman's one of the greatest managers of all time. Paul Heyman. He is a good heel, Garrett. He is a good heel. Yeah, but in any case, guys, hope you all have a great night. You all be safe and be well. And I'll catch you guys next time on the live stream. Have a great night, everybody. I'll catch you guys on Friday for SmackDown. Enjoy your evenings. It is a pleasure to see each and every one of you guys. Good night, everyone. MATTROISE signing out. Be safe, be well, guys. Always a pleasure. Sure, message me. Absolutely, Rory. I'll definitely try to get back to you tonight. Absolutely. Good night.
Good night.
Good night, Garrett. Good night, everybody. MATTROISE signing out. Be safe, be well.
It's my name. Honey. Hey. Where is the garbage bag? Where's the box? It was over there. You found the wheelchair. Please don't put away the garbage bag. It's too loose, not too high.